Today on our 2015 Ram 3500 Heavy Duty Crew Cab, we're going to be installing the B&W Companion OEM fifth wheel hitch for Ram towing prep package vehicles. Rated for 25,000 pounds, part number BW RVK 3600. There's a handle on each side that has the black rubber piece on it. As you lift up, that's what releases it. So when you set it down on, it catches and locks it in place. You'll then need to take the pin, go back through, put your clip in, you need to do that for both sides. So now you have the head can pivot forward and backwards. So now that we have the head attached, to release the jaws so you can hook up your camper or trailer, you remove the pin. As you swing the arm open, it opens up the jaws. As you back up to your camper, it'll close around it. Then before driving off, you'll need to make sure you put the pin back in place, as well as the clip. Now the arm cannot be opened up, and the jaws will stay closed. Now you'll notice that there's a total of 5 rubber plugs here in the bed of this vehicle. It does have the tow prep package installed from the factory. Now we won't be using this center plug, but we're using these 4 outer plugs, the one at each corner. Now you just simply turn the center plastic piece here. Sometimes they can be a little difficult to get out. Just a small flathead screwdriver along the edge will help you get them started. Once you have it in the open position, so it just has these 3 little tabs that twist into place. So you're going to need to remove all 4 of these, one from each corner, before we can install the base of our companion hitch. So now we've gone ahead and set our base here on our tailgate area. Now before we get it up into position, let's go ahead and go over a couple items here. Let's show you how the actual latch mechanism works that secures this base here to the bed of your vehicle. So you need to pull the pin here, you slide the end off, remove the pin. I'm just going to lift up gently so you can see, but you see this piece right here, currently it's turned in the locked position. So in order for you to put the base in, you need to turn the handles like this so that they're going straight across, so that they line up with the slots in each of those 4 pockets that we just opened up. Now, there's also some adjustments depending on your vehicle you may or may not need to do. This castle nut here is held in by a cotter pin, and depending on if there's too much movement or that if it's too tight and you can't close the handle back down, you'll need to remove the cotter pin and adjust the castle nut either up or down, depending on if it's too loose or too tight. Now you may not need to adjust any of them, or you may need to adjust all 4. It'll be vehicle dependent once you get it in place. So we'll go ahead and remove all 4 of the pins and open up all 4 of the latch mechanisms. Now one way to make sure that you're putting the base in correctly, one, it says B&W on the back side or facing towards the tailgate, but the other is the latches are different sizes. So the smaller latches, the bottom piece that drops into the bed, they're actually smaller. On the forward 2 are the 2 mounting locations closest to the cab of the vehicle. The 2 rear mounting locations are actually just a little bit bigger. So now it's a good idea to get an extra set of hands to help you get the base up into position, as this unit is rather heavy. Now, once we have all 4 of the legs or the pins dropped into position, you go ahead and take the handle, close the handle down. You want to make sure that there's no movement in it, that it's nice and secure. You can then take the pin, go back through, and clip it like that so that it can't be opened back up. You'll then go ahead and repeat the same process at the other 3 mounting locations. So as you can see, with all the latches secure, the base cannot move. It's securely fastened to the bed of the vehicle. Next, we're going to need to attach the pivot arms. Now there's 3 sets of holes built into the base, so it'll allow you to put the pivot arms either towards the back or towards the front, as well as you'll also notice that these are kind of offset. Now, being that this is a short bed truck, we're going to use the 2 rear mounting holes, as well as with our pivot arm straight up and down towards the rear. This will scoot the fifth wheel head as far back as possible, giving us the most clearance between our fifth wheel trailer and the cab of our vehicle. Now there's also several holes for a height adjustment to allow you to adjust from 17 to 19 inches. We're going to go ahead and choose the middle setting so that we're at 18 inches. Now, since we don't know exactly which camper or trailer they're going to be towing, this is a good starting spot, and you may need to adjust depending on your height of your camper or trailer. Now, to attach our pivot arms to the base, we'll be using these 1/2-inch bolts, 1/2-inch lock washer. It'll go through the pivot arm, through the base, and into these threaded blocks that'll slide in on the back side. Now you will notice that the threaded part is only closer to one side, so you have an area where there's no threads, and the bolt will need to thread in like this so that you go through the unthreaded part first and then into the threads. If you turn it around the other way, it may not allow the bolt to fully tighten down, causing the pivot arms to be loose. So we'll go ahead and take one of our bolts, get one on both sides so it stays. Now that we have this side installed hand tight, we'll go ahead and repeat the same process over here on the driver's side. So now with all of our hardware installed loosely, we can go ahead and tighten it all down. And then torque it to the manufacturer's specification. Next, we're going to need to put together the leveling spring here and clip. So we'll take our clip and the spring. You'll notice how it has this little indentation piece on it. So we'll go through, come out like that, put the small lock nut on it as a nylon lock nut. So it'll be on there like that. Go ahead and take our wrench and socket and tighten everything down. So now here's what our assembly looks like. Next, we're going to need to position this on the driver's side pivot arm. So this clip here will slide onto the pivot arm. And it'll be positioned like this so that this end of the spring is facing forward. So when positioned correctly, the top piece of the spring here should be a 1/2 inch below the bottom section of this rubber piece. So a 1/2 inch from here to the bottom of here. So now next we've gone ahead, taken the head of the fifth wheel, set it upside down, some cardboard here. We're going to need to remove this pin with the clip and allow the arm to open up. We're then going to take the handle You'll notice how there's 3 holes. Now the clip will go in this outer hole, so the 2 inner holes will have a locking flange nut and this Allen key style bolt here. So we'll take the bolt, slide it underneath, put the lock nut on top. Do that for the other mounting location as well. Tighten everything down. So now with the hardware tightened down, we'll go ahead and reclose the arm, put the clip and the pin back in it. Next we're going to need to go ahead and remove the pin and clip from each side so that we can set the head onto our pivot arms. Pull the pin, do that for both sides. Now with that done, we're ready to set the head of the fifth wheel on top of the pivot arms. And that'll do it for the installation of the B&W Companion OEM fifth wheel hitch for Ram towing prep package vehicles, part number BW RVK 3600, as installed here on our 2015 Ram 3500 heavy duty crew cab pickup.